Ladies and gentlemen, I have seen Spider-Man Brand New Day. We got a lot to talk about here. I'm going to try to make this review concise and shorter than my previous reviews. Just so you know, the front of this review is going to be non-spoiler, and then I'll give a clear spoiler warning because a lot, if not all, of my critiques of the film are spoiler, okay? So let's just start off with the positive, all right? First off, super hyped going into this movie. I think it was my third most hyped movie of the year behind Doomsday and Dune. And this movie does a lot right, okay? This movie does a lot right. It is by far the best looking Spider-Man movie in Tom's saga here. Maybe the best looking Spider-Man film ever. For some reason, even in the theater I was in, the visuals, the display was just super crisp and clean. Like more than any movie I've seen in a long time. So props to the cinematography. Really, really good work behind the camera. This movie has depth, it has texture. Besides the visuals, this is Tom's. Tom does a really good performance. Okay, I'd say this is his second best performance behind No Way Home. I think he really does a good job portraying a depressed Peter. I don't think he reaches anywhere near the highs of, the May death scene in No Way Home or the saying goodbye to to MJ at the end of No Way Home, but he did a great job through and through. This is by far my favorite portrayal of Tom Holland's Peter Parker and Spider-Man thus far. If we're not including the fight scene, airport fight scene in Civil War, I think that's just peak. Besides that, out of his movies, this is the best Peter Parker he's been. This is the best Spider-Man he's been. Do I think it's the best of his movies? No, I don't. I still put No Way Home over this film. Sorry. I know I think is an unpopular take at the moment. I think people are riding high on this film, but I think there are clear flaws. Again, starting with the good, the cinematography is great. He's a great Peter Parker. He's a great Spider-Man. And I'm loving this new era he's in on his own, in his later college years. I love the dynamic between him and New York at this point in the film. Before and previous, and No Way Home and previous films. Well, I guess Homecoming, no one knew him, and Far From Home, he wasn't on in America, and No Way Home, everyone hated him because he got exposed, right? So now everyone loves this guy in New York, all right? This truly feels like Sam Raimi, like Andrew Garfield's movies. Like the city, the New York is a character. They love him. They support him, and he has his relationship with the police force, and it's really beautiful to see. I absolutely love that aspect. Finally, we get some good swinging sequences out of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. There wasn't much to write home about at all in the previous trilogy. From beginning to end, the swinging scenes were really, really good. Okay, are they TASM 2 level? No, they're not. Okay, it's gonna take a miracle to top those. All right, and I was really hoping that these would. They don't, but it's by far the best and the best swinging we've seen in a long time. I see clear inspiration from Sam Raimi's movies. I see clear inspiration from the Sony films with Andrew Garfield. Whether that's, like I said, the character of New York, the city, his dynamic and relationship with the city that supports him, whether it's some scenes with MJ, and I do see some clear inspiration from the Insomniac Spider-Man games. Being an avid lover and player of those games, definitely saw clear inspiration, and I really like that. Right now, as a final rating, before I get into spoilers, into my negatives, I'm giving this movie, I think I'm giving it around an 8. 8 flat is what I'm going to put it at, okay? I think there's some clear flaws and critiques that I have that really hold it down, and it could honestly, it should be lower than an 8, but my clear, just passionate love for Spider-Man is carrying that rating pretty hard. So I'm having it at an 8 flat right now. That could go up on a rewatch. I am going to rewatch this, and I'm super excited for that. All right, let's get into the negatives. Spoiler. Where do I start, man? I think the biggest problem that I think the movie feels empty for a Spider-Man film. There's an empty feeling I have, kind of like a hollow feeling. And I really think that is due to not having a prominent Spider-Man villain as the antagonist. The last time we had a focused Spider-Man villain in Tom Holland's universe was Homecoming with Vulture. After that, we had a fake Mysterio, and the whole final act was him fighting drones. No Way Home, we had a bunch of stolen villains from other Spider-Man's catalog. And then this one, we have an origin story for Jean Grey. I guess we had Scorpion, which could for sure, he's like a B tier Spider-Man villain. He's in the Sinister Six, though. He could definitely be the focused main villain for an entire movie. And yet he's sidelined as a extension of a montage. And man, Michael Mando as Scorpion, amazing casting. He could have held down an entire film. But no, we're instead of that, we're gonna have the villain be an X-Men, Jean Grey. What did I think of her? I think Sadie Sink played Jean Grey really well. Okay? I think she played her really well. My problem, though, is the fact that Jean Grey's in this movie. I do not want an X-Men origin story to be told in a Spider-Man movie. It feels out of place and it doesn't feel Spider-Man. And I think there is some lazy writing in this film at times. At that very end scene, Spider-Man goes to her and is saying like, hey, you're not a killer, Jean. Well, clearly she is, right? Because she offed an innocent pedestrian by letting him walk into the road and get killed. He also tried to kill MJ. He also released the Hulk on the city. She is a killer, dog. So there's that. There's the problem with the villain. There's some problems in the writing with that. I also think it's just kind of lazy that we never get to understand why Peter doesn't have a job. One of the core fundamental tropes of Spider-Man, especially in his college years and his more mature years when he's on his own, is he has a job. And he's struggling to maintain his job because he needs the money because he's broke. And he's trying to balance that with being Spider-Man. We get none of that. How's he affording this apartment? We don't know. How's he affording the Stark tech in his home? We don't know. So I really missed that balance. I really wish we could see him what he does for a job. And they didn't include that because it would affect and totally just throw off the story that they have going. Which is fine, but it's lazy. And I feel like that was an essential aspect of Spider-Man that was missing. All right, the inclusion of Hulk. If you've been following me, you would know that Hulk is my favorite Marvel character. And of course, all of that love comes from the comics. Because what has the MCU given me to love about the Hulk? Maybe a few action scenes in Avengers 1 and Age of Ultron. Maybe a little bit in Ragnarok. Other than that, the writing has been atrocious for my favorite character, okay? I went into this movie expecting the Hulk fight scene to be 2 minutes, and yeah, it was 2 minutes. Unfortunately, but it's fine. I think Banner really fit for this movie. I think Hulk, I guess there's a justification. She needed him to get into the door, I guess, which didn't work. Again, we have a sun's getting real low for the Hulk. Brave New World, Cap somehow talks Red Hulk down and reverts him to human form. In this one, we have Rage Hulk. He looks amazing. He's menacing. I feel the tension in my chest with his transformation in this fight scene. And how do they beat Hulk? I knew going into this movie they were going to handle it poorly, and they did. All it takes is Peter saying, "We're friends," and Rage Hulk throws himself off a building? What? What are we doing? It would have been much better if Peter beat him through science with the inhibitor chip. Now I know he said his skin is too thick, but and that is actually accurate. He wouldn't be able to go through his skin, but it's way better having the inhibitor chip work as opposed to Spider-Man saying, "You know me, we're friends." And that cools him down. Black Widow couldn't even get him to cool down that quick. So it's just convenient, lazy writing, right? And then for the final action scene, it's against the Hand, which is an amazing action scene, but we don't care about the Hand. The final fight of this movie isn't even the villain. It's this group of ninjas we don't care about. We get a line of backstory on them, but they haven't been in the entire movie. They're in 1% of this movie, and they're the final act fight scene, and we're supposed to care about that somehow. That's the problem when you don't actually have a focused Spider-Man villain. You have to shoehorn in this weird group that no one knows. It's cool action, but it doesn't mean anything. It's used to develop Spider-Man into, which is a cool moment, which is a great moment. It's used to develop him into the symbiosis of his organic webbing, the beast inside of him, and still being Peter. Also, Yelena cameo. They are trying so hard to make Yelena funny, and it doesn't land with me. It doesn't land. She's the quirky Russian girl that's trying to be so unique and spunky, and it's not working, bro. She was amazing in Thunderbolts. I like that she's included in this film just to expand the idea of Doomsday and to expand the idea of what the new Avengers are doing right now in the city and how they're operating. But her dialogue is just It's just throwaway, right? I actually thought they were going to kill Spider-Man in this movie when he got sniped, and I leaned up in my seat and my jaw dropped. I was like, "Are they actually doing this? Are they killing him and then having the symbiote resurrect him?" No, they didn't do that. Fine. I think it still was a cool moment with the spider sense in the dark hallway, just feeling the bullet coming, saving the villain. Very Spider-Man. I do like that. Um, but I would have more preferred it, much rather preferred it to be him dying and then coming back to life somehow with the symbiote or something. But I knew that probably wasn't going to happen. But it was a good moment, and I like how like quickly he dropped when the bullet hit him. I did like that. And the reason I don't like this movie more than No Way Home, although I think it's not as messy and it has a better plot slightly, the highs in No Way Home are just higher. The two best scenes in this movie are the fight with the hand and the scene in Act 1 where he leaves the party after seeing MJ kissing the guy and he's swinging through the rainy city at night and he's flashing back to the memories of him and MJ. That was beautiful. That was art. Those are the two highest scenes. I don't think those even top the highs in No Way Home of May's death, both Green Goblin fights, and the other two Spider-Man coming back in that final fight. So yeah, guys, I think the lack of a villain, the lack of the crucial trope of Spider-Man having a job and balancing that with being a hero, and the lazy writing, the convenient writing. It didn't take me out of the experience, but it kept me from really attaching to this movie and viewing it as great. Think it's good. Don't think it's great. So that's my review, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Just if you follow me on Letterboxd, you would know this, but I have this movie at an 8 out of 10, 4 out of 5 stars as of now. I have it 5th in the Spider-Man movies for me, okay? 5th place. If you want to know what those movies are, go to my Letterboxd. And then I also have it ranked 13th in the MCU. So that's my review, guys. Comment down below, what do you think of this movie? There's some truly great stuff in this. I'm really needing a movie to blow me away this year, guys. I have yet to see it. I have yet to see it. We have a lot of good horror movies coming out in October. We got Hunger Games November, and of course Dune and Doomsday in December. So subscribe if you haven't already. We're building this channel from the ground up. Let me know what you thought. See you in the next video.